What if everything we know about human history is incomplete? Ancient texts, impossible structures, and forgotten legends all point toward a hidden truth, one that may change humanity forever. What if everything we know about human history is not the whole story? Well, what if the timeline we have so carefully constructed from simple hunter-gatherers to the dawn of civilization is missing entire chapters? These are not idle thoughts. They are deep questions. They are born from looking at the world around us, at the silent stones and forgotten places that dot our planet. They ask us to look again at the past, not as a settled fact, but as a profound and ongoing mystery. The ruins of ancient worlds speak to us. Their language is one of symbols, shadows, and silence. We must learn to listen. We see the great pyramids, their sharp lines cutting into the sky. We see star maps carved into stone, charting the heavens with an uncanny accuracy. We find strange symbols repeated in cultures separated by vast oceans and thousands of years. These are not just artifacts, they are clues. They hint at a narrative far grander, far older, and far more complex. The past feels distant, a closed book. But perhaps it is closer than we think. Perhaps its secrets are not buried but are hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to ask the right questions. This journey begins with a sense of unease. It is the feeling that the pieces do not quite fit. The official story is one of gradual, linear progress. Humans learned to farm. They built villages, then towns, then cities. They developed writing, laws, and science in a slow, steady climb. Yet, the evidence on the ground often tells a different tale. It speaks of sudden leaps in knowledge. Long before the first cities were founded, long before written law was conceived, people built places that still stand against the wind and the rain. Some of these ruins are small and humble. Others are vast and monumental. Some are simple arrangements of rock. Others are carved with a sophistication that defies their immense age. In the rolling hills of southeastern Turkey, on a high, rounded ridge, a group of ancient people gathered. They came together to quarry massive limestone pillars and erect them in great circles. They carved these stones with intricate reliefs of animals, foxes, boars, snakes, vultures. This place is called Göbekli Tepe. The site is a shock to the system of history. It is older than any known temple complex on Earth. Archaeologists date its earliest layers to roughly 11,600 years ago. This was a time when humanity, as we understand it, was supposed to consist of small nomadic bands of hunter-gatherers. They had not yet domesticated plants or animals. They did not have pottery or metal tools. Yet here, on this remote hill, they organized a massive labor force to create a breathtaking ceremonial center. The pillars weigh many tons. The carvings are detailed and symbolic. The scale of the project is staggering. This discovery turns our conventional timeline on its head. It makes us wonder, how could a society of hunter-gatherers, with only simple flint tools, create such a place? The accepted model says that complex religion and monumental architecture are the products of settled agricultural societies. First, you have farming, which creates food surpluses. That surplus allows for social stratification and specialized labor. Only then can you build temples. But Göbekli Tepe suggests the opposite. It seems that the desire to build this sacred place may have been the very thing that pushed people to settle down and develop agriculture to feed the workers. The questions echo from every stone. Why build something so big, so early? What was the purpose of these circles? Were they observatories? Were they ritual sites? Who were these people, and what did they believe? The carvings of headless humans and menacing beasts suggest a complex and perhaps dark cosmology. Göbekli Tepe does not provide answers. Instead, it presents us with a profound mystery right at the dawn of what we call civilization. It hints that the story of our origins is far from complete, and that our ancestors were capable of far more than we have ever imagined. Far to the south of Göbekli Tepe, along the fertile banks of the Nile, great monuments rise from the desert sands. The pyramids of the Giza Plateau point to the sky with geometric perfection. The sheer precision of the Great Pyramid is breathtaking. Its base is almost perfectly level. Its four sides are aligned to the cardinal directions with an accuracy that modern builders would find challenging. The stones, some weighing dozens of tons, are fitted together so tightly that a knife blade cannot pass between them. Karnak, Luxor hold long, inscribed lists of kings, hold long inscribed lists of gods. The writing is careful. The art is powerful and enduring. We have deciphered its language and studied its dynasties. Yet even here, the pyramids still keep a profound silence. Their exact building methods continue to spark intense debate among engineers and historians. In the deserts of the Americas and the highlands of Asia, other cultures cut and move stones with a similar, inexplicable skill. They shaped massive blocks and fit them together without mortar, creating walls that have withstood earthquakes for centuries. These are not isolated anomalies. They are part of a global pattern of advanced stonework. In Mesopotamia, the land between the great rivers of the Tigris and Euphrates. Euphrates, the people of Sumer, wrote the first simple records. They built cities from mud brick and created detailed lists of their kings. These lists, known as the Sumerian King List, are fascinating documents. They speak of rulers who lived for astonishingly long periods, thousands of years in some cases, before a great flood swept over the land. After the flood, the reigns of kings become much shorter, much more human. Historians dismiss the early entries as myth, but the persistence of these hints of ages longer than we expect is found in other places too. Another deep mystery is the stones themselves. All around the world, wind-swept coasts of Europe, remote islands of the Pacific megaliths. The word means great stone. These are colossal blocks of granite basalt sandstone, quarried and moved by cultures that lacked the wheel iron tools modern machinery. These stones are heavy, often weighing tens or even hundreds of tons, carved with a skill suggesting precise, powerful instruments. The scale of this ambition is hard to grasp. In some places, the feat was not just lifting but hollowing. Entire underground cities carved from solid rock. Cappadocia, vast multi-level subterranean complexes. The burden of proof. How were these marvels achieved? At night, many of these ancient structures reveal another layer of their genius. They are not randomly placed. Temples are often precisely aligned with the movements of the cosmos. Tombs are often precisely aligned with the movements of the cosmos. Monoliths are often precisely aligned with the movements of the cosmos. They point to the rising sun on the solstice. They mark the position of the moon at key points in its cycle. They align with bright stars and distant constellations. Some ancient walls and tablets appear to show maps of the sky. They mark the place of stars and planets with a care and knowledge that seems far ahead of its time. This connection to the heavens is a recurring theme. Many cultures also share strikingly similar myths. These tales appear in faraway lands, in cultures that supposedly had no contact with one another. They speak of lights in the night. They tell of powerful gods who descended from above to teach humanity the arts of civilization. They tell of terrible floods that reshaped the world. The details vary, but the core ideas echo across continents. This is not proof of a single event or a shared history, but the echoes are strong. When we speak of these powerful and provocative ideas, we must be careful. It is easy to get lost in wild stories and sensational claims. Many tales promise strange visitors from other worlds or magical technologies from lost continents. But we will not claim that ancient astronauts are a fact. We will not make assertions that go beyond the available proof. Instead, we will continue to listen to the traces left behind in stone and in story. We will ask the big questions gently and with respect for the unknown. We will keep our tone serious and our minds open. We will stay close to what the evidence actually shows. One careful and considered idea is that a much older, sophisticated global civilization might have existed. It could have been a maritime culture with powerful ships and advanced navigational skills. It might have possessed knowledge of engineering, mathematics, and astronomy that is now lost. Before we continue, where are you watching from? Comment your country below. I want to know how far this mystery reaches. A great natural cataclysm could have erased that world from the map, a rapid sea level rise at the end of the last ice age, a devastating comet impact, or a period of intense volcanic activity. Only scattered traces and fragmented memories would remain. These remnants could be the seeds from which later, known civilizations sprouted. Another careful idea is that different and distinct human groups might have shared knowledge across vast distances for a very long time. Ancient trade routes were more extensive than we often assume. Traders, sailors, travelers could have carried ideas and techniques across seas and deserts. A map maker in one port city could have taught his craft to a priest in another. The same symbolic patterns and astronomical observations could have moved with these travelers. Over long centuries, these patterns could have been absorbed into local myths. They could have been carved into stone monuments. They could have been remembered as the divine work of gods. We must also consider how much of our history is truly, irretrievably lost. Countless ancient texts did not survive the ravages of time. Fires, floods, conquests, deliberate destruction have erased entire libraries. The stories of a great flood are almost everywhere. In the mythology of ancient Mesopotamia, the Epic of Gilgamesh Utnapishtim is warned to build a large ship. He is told to save his family and the seeds of all living things from a deluge sent by angry deities. In the biblical account, Noah builds an ark for the same purpose. In Hindu tradition, the sage Manu is saved by the god Vishnu in the form of a fish. Similar stories are found among the Greeks, the Norse, the indigenous peoples of the Americas, and the Aboriginal tribes of Australia. In one land, a man builds a large boat. He saves his family and pairs of animals from rising waters. In another place, a king speaks about a great wave that covered the entire earth, wiping out a sinful generation. In many regions, older myths tell of a time of profound and catastrophic change. A drowning of the world that marked the end of one age and the beginning of another. This is not conclusive proof of a single global event. The world is a wet place, and floods are a common local disaster. But the echoes are strong, and the similarities in the narratives are often striking. These stories suggest a shared, deeply traumatic memory. They suggest that many disparate groups of people felt the same great fear at some point in their distant past. Geologists have confirmed that at the end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago, the world underwent a period of dramatic climate change. As the vast ice sheets covering North America and Europe melted, they released enormous quantities of water. Global sea levels rose by hundreds of feet, drowning coastal plains and continental shelves where people may have lived. It would have been a terrifying time, an age of floods on an epic scale. Could these ancient myths be the fragmented, legendary accounts of that very real period of global transformation? Could the stories of a lost, drowned world be a memory of the low-lying coastal civilizations that were swallowed by the rising seas? The hypothesis is compelling. It provides a potential link between myth and geological reality. It suggests that when our ancestors spoke of a great flood, they were not just inventing a story. They were perhaps preserving the memory of a world that was lost beneath the waves. A world whose existence we are only now beginning to rediscover. So, we ask again, could there have been a great, forgotten school of knowledge that faded away into the mists of time? Could the existence of such a lost predecessor explain the startlingly similar symbols and architectural motifs found in very distant lands? Could it explain the presence of star charts that seem to have been drawn by a very old and knowledgeable hand? We do not know for sure. We must ask the questions and leave them open for further investigation. We ask for care and rigor in how we approach this subject, but we also ask for the courage to consider possibilities that challenge our comfortable assumptions. In the middle of this story, we pause to ask you a simple thing. Where are you watching from? Take a moment to tell us your country in the comments below. The world is a wide and varied place. This ancient story could be closer to your home than you realize. Voices and perspectives from many lands can help us all to learn more, to see new connections, and to piece together a more complete picture of our shared human heritage. Your local history, your local myths, may hold another clue in this great global puzzle. One careful theory, as we have mentioned, is that a long-lost civilization could have existed. It may have been a culture of master navigators, astronomers, and engineers. It may have had ship's maps and advanced stone-cutting techniques. Perhaps a great cataclysm, like the end of the Ice Age, erased that world. Only its survivors, scattered and traumatized, would have carried fragments of its knowledge to other parts of the globe. These fragments would have become the foundations upon which later known civilizations were built, explaining their sudden and sophisticated beginnings. Another thought is that human groups simply passed knowledge around for thousands of years, far more extensively than we credit them for. Perhaps there was no single lost civilization, but rather a persistent, ancient network of exchange. Ideas could travel slowly but surely along these networks, spreading from culture to culture over millennia. A third possibility is that certain skills we now find strange, like the ability to work with megalithic stones, were once common knowledge, a standard part of the human toolkit. Perhaps time and disaster simply erased this knowledge so completely that we can no longer comprehend how it was done. We return to the stones, the sky. We watch the slow, deliberate lines of shadow move across ancient carved faces. We hear a low, ambient drone, like wind in a vast, empty hall. We feel the immense weight of time. The stones do not rush us. They do not offer up their secrets easily. They ask for patience. They demand that we slow down and observe. We read what we can from the surviving inscriptions. We search through dusty archives and old books. We dig carefully in the earth, hoping for a new discovery. Each new find can change our entire view of the past. A single shard of pottery, a curiously carved bone, a newly discovered map. The puzzle grows with each piece, but it also becomes clearer. We do not choose a single idea from the ones we have discussed. We do not declare one theory to be the final truth. We let the question stand, suspended in the air. We allow the ambiguity to exist. The search for understanding matters more than the comfort of a simple answer. Careful study, rigorous science, open-minded debate. Do you think the full truth about our early past is still hidden from us? Many will say yes, with conviction. Many others will say no, with equal certainty. That is fine. Disagreement is a healthy part of the scientific process. It pushes us to find better evidence, to refine our methods, and to challenge our own biases. What matters is that we keep looking, keep questioning, and do not allow the book of history to be closed prematurely. The story is not over. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not the colossal stones that still stand. Perhaps it is not the pyramids. Perhaps it is not the underground cities. Perhaps the real mystery is the knowledge they hold, the ideas they represent. Maybe the ultimate question is what those people truly understood about their world. Did they know more about the cycles of the sky than we do? Did they have access to far older maps? Did they see patterns in nature and the cosmos that we, in our modern world, have forgotten how to see? We end this journey with a quiet thought. The past is not finished. It is not dead and buried. It waits for us, patiently, beneath layers of dust and shadow. It waits for careful hands and open minds to uncover its truths. Perhaps the story of human origins has been hidden from us, not by some grand conspiracy, but by the simple, relentless passage of time and the fragility of memory. Perhaps it has been waiting all along for a patient voice to ask the right questions in the right way. Perhaps the greatest mystery isn't what ancient civilizations built, but what they knew.